For those who don't know, so Scrum is an agile project management methodology. You set a chunk of work, you work on it for a defined period of time. At the end of that period of time, you inspect the work you've done, you say what's gone well, what's not gone well, and then you adapt, and then you go again. The thing I love about Scrum is you always get to say yes. Oh, I've got this cool new idea for a feature. Can we add this in? You go, yes. What do you want to do? Do you want to push out the launch date? Do you want to lose some of the other features? Or do you want to put some more people on to work on that cool new idea? You've got a plan that you're working to that gives you that overall picture. And that's the bit that a lot of people miss. And that's the bit that helps you control your project. Oddly, I came to the end of a project I was doing, and I had a small team. There were 5 of us. We were going to do an experimental mobile game that ended up being Kumo Lumo. The 5 people in the team were probably 5 of the most experienced people I'd ever worked with, and I decided, because they knew what they were doing, I'd just get out of their way. And all I did was set weekly goals. The process was really pain-free. We had a lot of fun, we got a lot of work done, and we made this amazing game. It had 1.2 million downloads, I think, in the first week. It did really well, and I kind of was a bit stunned. At the end of this, I kind of thought, is this something I could ever replicate? So in Scrum, if you've got a 4-sprint Scrum, you normally find the first sprint is pretty much a catastrophe. And that's one of the problems I see a lot in Scrum, is when the first sprint fails, people think that Scrum's not working, so they then fix Scrum. Whereas actually the first sprint failing is part of Scrum, and that's kind of the whole process. The thing that makes Scrum work more than anything else is communication, and as long as my team is speaking to each other all of the time, then everything's fine. The second sprint tends to go a bit better. By the third sprint, the teams start to find their rhythm and they start working together well. A lot of companies I go to, the reason it's not working for them and the reason they're not doing it is because they're not trusting their teams. Like traditionally in industry, person A will make part A of a task, pass it to person B. And what Agile says is, well, if you get great people and you build a cross-disciplinary team and allowing people to self-organise their work, people will come up with the best possible solution. A good example is often when we first started working together, what I remember seeing, we had all the tasks for the whole project all laid out. I remember Nick, our artist, looking at the tasks and then wandering over to tasks that weren't even in that sprint and taking a really low priority task and starting working on it. And he'd finish that and, he'd then go and you think, oh, he's going to go and take like the high priority art task now. And he'd go and take another task. In a traditional management structure, you'd go, well, he's not working on the task he's supposed to be working on, so I'm going to pull him aside, I'm going to discipline him and blah, blah, blah. But I trusted Nick because he's an amazing artist and he's sensible and knows what our goals were in the project. So I just went, okay, I'll let him get on with what he's doing. And then a couple of days later, he'd take the high priority art task that I thought would take about 3 or 4 days, and he'd take it off the board and he'd do it in a day. And the reason he'd done it in a day is because he'd spent 2 or 3 days mulling over what he was going to do and what that task was, and he was using some of the lower priority tasks that happened to inspire him at that time to figure out the art style. So he's optimizing his own work because he's working in a way that suits him best. The thing that constantly surprises me is with traditional waterfall projects and you plan everything out to the nth degree, it's really hard for the team to have that sense of self-expression within that because it's all planned. Whereas with Scrum and with Agile, you can give the team the freedom within these bounds and constraints of your time and your scope and everything. You can give them the freedom to create, and that's what I love. Is every game we've made as Team Lumo isn't the game I thought we were going to make at the beginning, but is better as a result. Yeah, I couldn't have imagined how Lumo's cat would look at the beginning of Lumo's cat. I don't think anyone could. And that's what I try and do, is I just trust the team to make amazing stuff, and I give them all the support they need to make sure they can excel and to make sure we can deliver these amazing games. Kubu Kaplui.